The cutting room floor of gaming development gives a look into what may have been possible in an alternate reality where the applicable content was cut due to time or budget constraints, or just staring into a whole other direction. So what I'm going to do today is unearth some gems and forgotten concepts from the development of the legendary Gears of War 3. As always, I'm your host Abz, and without further ado, let's get into this. The Master Boomer. The iconic Locust boomers were seen throughout the Gears games, and we saw many different variants, from the grinders, to the maulers, to the butchers, flame boomers and so on. However, there was another boomer in the works that unfortunately didn't make it into Gears of War 3. This was the Master Boomer, a very different type of boomer who would be equipped with a metal whip with blades at the end, and a backpack that wretches would sit in. The wretches would have been able to jump out, and the Master Boomer would have been able to throw wretches towards the player and use his metal whip to unleash his wrath on the Gears. He also had the same armor as the Savage Boomer variants. The Master Boomer was cancelled before production, but what an amazing concept in my opinion. I really would have loved this. This is probably the closest we've ever gotten to a boomer boss enemy in a Gears game, because I'd assumed the Master Boomer would have been a lot more lethal compared to other boomers, given its name. And it would have been a very dynamic fight, dealing with the wretches at close range, and watching out for the metal whip attacks within a certain range. That would have been pretty fun. The Armored Ticker. The pesky hollow creatures known as the Tickers were seen throughout the Gears games, known for the ticking sounds that they made, and being strapped with emulsion tanks to inflict devastating amounts of damage to gears, vehicles and infrastructure. So there were the standard Tickers, and the wild Tickers, which were just Tickers in their pure form, just small creatures who posed little threat on their own, but were always seen in large numbers. Now the Armored Ticker was an iteration of the Ticker that didn't quite work out. According to Rod Ferguson, in-house they would call it the roly-poly Ticker, because this was a heavily armoured Ticker that would roll into a ball as it made its way towards you, and you'd have to use the stopping power of the Lancer to push the ball away. And then as it would get really close, it would explode just like a regular Ticker. So this didn't make it because it was too gimmicky, and to be honest it did seem a bit dumb, because they don't seem menacing at all. It's like you're fighting a beach ball or something. So yeah, I don't think the Armored Ticker was the best concept in the world. But I do believe that the Coalition may have taken this concept and repurposed it into the trackers and shock trackers as part of DB Industries in the newer Gears games. But yeah, my same stance applies. I don't think this concept is best for the Gears universe. The Rocket Launcher. Now the Rocket Launcher was supposed to be in Gears 3, but didn't make it as an individual weapon. Of course there have been rocket launchers seen in the comics, books, and other variants in newer Gears games. But in terms of the rocket launcher as a weapon in itself, unfortunately didn't make it, which is a shame. Although technically it did make it, since rocket launchers were strapped to the silverbacks. But personally I would have loved to use a rocket launcher as an individual weapon, because it's such a perfect fit for the Gears universe. And it's crazy that it never made it into Gears 3, or the original trilogy as a whole. Cut Locust from Beast Mode. Beast Mode was originally called Siege Mode, and it had a different UI and had other Locusts that never made it into the final iteration. This included the standard drone and grenadier, who were replaced by the Savage drone and Savage grenadier. The Shrieker was cut, and the Grinder was also cut from Beast Mode as well, which is quite disappointing actually. And the Reaver didn't make it as well since it was too big and clashed with the smaller indoor maps. And the Armoured Cantus previously had dual wielding Boltox, but that was changed to Gorgon pistols instead. I feel like the Grinder may have just been a bit too OP with its multi machine gun, unless they made it overheat really quickly. The Shrieker would have been an awesome inclusion, and I wish they went further and added a few Theron guards or something. Playable monsters is one of the most fun aspects that many players never knew they needed until Beast Mode dropped with Gears 3. Let's hope playable monsters return in future Gears of War games. Hoffman's Scrapped Death. Hoffman was originally planned to die in Gears 3, and it was planned for him to accompany Delta Squad to Azura on the submarine, and he would have died on that journey. However, the writer of the original Gears novels, Karen Travis, didn't want him to die because he was a narrative vehicle in the novels and didn't want to lose out on any potential plots. So I'd assume that is probably why he stayed at Anvil Gate and why he is shown to have a deep history with Anvil Gate from Gears 3 all the way back to the Pendulum Wars, a place he defended to the bitter end until Marcus Phoenix and his father saved humanity. Jace's scrap death. Well, just like Hoffman, it appeared that Jace Stratton was supposed to die in Gears 3 as well, but in Act 1, when the CNV Sovereign blew up thanks to the Lambent Leviathan. But this was changed, probably because Jace was given more of a prominent role in the story, allowing his character to flesh out a bit more. Also, did you know that Drake was supposed to be the voice actor for Jace, but a scheduling conflict prevented him from coming on board Gears of War 3, and so Michael B. Jordan was instead hired to become the voice actor for Jace Stratton. Jonathan Harper in Realm's Shadow. The original lineup for Zeta Squad in the Realm's Shadow DLC was Barrick, Valera, Ty and Jonathan Harper, a gear seen in the comics, but he was replaced with Min, as the writers felt like Min had a history with Ram, and to build upon that and give it some backstory, as well as thinking fans would want to see Min again. The original location in Realm's Shadow was going to be Tollan, but ended up being the city of Alima. Marcus Phoenix Prologue DLC. One of the Gears 3 DLCs that was scrapped was a prologue involving Marcus Phoenix holding off Tollan Road, and him disobeying orders to save his father. But this for some reason didn't make it, and this whole plot of him disobeying orders and being sent to prison was instead explained in the Slab novel. There was another DLC that was supposed to be completed as well for Gears 3, but almost no information about that is available. So yeah, it looks like we missed out on 2 more DLCs for Gears 3. Onyx Guard Alicia Valera. Valera from the Realm Shadow DLC was originally depicted to be a helmeted Onyx Guard-esque character. The design of her armor was supposed to bring to light the speed and flexibility needed by a reconnaissance soldier. But yeah, in the end her design had completely changed. The Savage Buzzsaw. Now then, another scrapped weapon was the Savage Buzzsaw, a savage locust weapon that had projectiles that could ricochet off surfaces and slice through gears. An extremely lethal weapon, but unfortunately was cut due to unknown reasons. It appears that the Buzzkill from Gears 4 was the spiritual successor to this concept, as they basically repurposed this weapon into a different design. But I do think that the Buzzsaw really would have suited the merciless aura of the Savage Locust. Wretch Grabbing and Choking. There was a previous feature in development where wretches would have grabbed onto a gear's head and then choked them in different sets of movements. There were different sound cues for the victims, such as Marcus saying, "Damn it, get this monkey dog off of me." But yeah, this feature didn't end up making it into the game, although it would have added a bit more savagery to the wretch enemies, so definitely a missed opportunity in my book. Also, I feel like Gears 5 may have also repurposed this feature, where juvies execute downed gears by crushing their head into the floor. Mora Explosive Flail Pickup Weapon. Another feature removed during development showed Mora Flail weapons being used by standard characters. It was originally a pickup weapon on the map Jacinto, and it is unknown if you could pick it up from dead Maulers, but this feature was removed for unknown reasons. I don't know why, but I'd assumed that the explosive flails were just so huge, so even a gear couldn't carry it and use it. But it's multiplayer, so lore doesn't really matter, so I'm not sure. But imagine that would have been really cool to use the explosive flail in multiplayer. Cleaver Throwing. And another feature that was removed was the ability for the player to use the cleavers as throwables by using the left stick and firing with the right stick. This would have sent the cleaver out as a projectile, dealing a lot of damage, although this would have made it unusable once it had landed. Once again, I personally would have really loved this feature. Rat Bikes. So the rat bike was seen in the Gears comics, but it was also originally planned to be in Gears 3. Marcus and Dom were originally intended to use the rat bike during an on-rail sequence just before reaching Mercy. The sidecar with the rat bike was able to carry one person, along with the person riding the bike, while the sidecar had a large cannon attached to it and was able to spin 270 degrees around. I gotta say, this was a major missed opportunity, because I can't imagine how fun this sequence would have been as a duo in campaign. That would have been so fun. I really wish the rat bikes made it. Unreleased multiplayer maps. There were literally so many multiplayer DLC maps that for some reason were never released. Some amazing maps from Gears 2 were supposed to return in Gears 3, including River, Security, Day 1 and more. River also had a variant during the night, and I don't know why they didn't release these maps. Was it because of balancing issues, since Gears 3 played totally different to Gears 2? I don't know, but it's a mystery. There were also new maps like Catacombs, Ember, Blowout, and so much more, so it really makes you wonder why all these maps were never released. Cut multiplayer characters and legacy variants. From the previous development period, there were old legacy variants that were replaced, and also multiplayer characters that were cut for unknown reasons. There was Scourge, who completely didn't make it, which is crazy to think about. I really don't know why they didn't add Scourge. The Locust Cyclops didn't make the cut. The legacy RAM for multiplayer was replaced with the younger RAM from the DLC. Legacy Ty from Gears 2 was replaced by younger Ty in the DLC. Legacy Min was replaced as well with the DLC variant. The Legacy Theron Guard was changed, and there was also an unfinished prototype of the Theron Elite, dubbed as the Onyx Theron. And that, my friends, is a look into all of the cut content I could find in Gears of War 3. I really enjoyed creating and researching all of the forgotten concepts and ideas from the development of Gears 3. Drop a like if you enjoyed this video, subscribe if you want to see more content from me, and a big thank you to the YouTube and Patreon members for your extra support in helping me and the running of the channel. I really do appreciate all of you. I'm your host Abz, and as always, I will catch you guys next time.